Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah Koholoimla, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bahashem Rakahakudash, double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule well, that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. Just want to say the water toward the Akim and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf just coming at you with another quick lesson. Pray that it's edifying by the Spirit. Okay, let's get it popping. This is a story in Newsweek. It says Black Mormon told they can't marry white members because seed is cursed. Now, first off, there's no such thing as black people. You know, there's different shades of brown people. You have some really dark brown people, which you're not going to have a black person, you know, as far as like black out of a crayon box. That's a social construct made up by the so-called white man, and we call him the so-called white man because he's actually pinkish to reddish in color. There's no such thing as white people or black people. Those are social constructs. Google and look up, Wikipedia or however you want to do it. Get the meaning of social construct as far as black and white, and you'll see that it was made up by the so-called white people, which are Edomites. That's their biblical nationality. And you so-called blacks, you are Israelites. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The so-called white man comes from Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. So let's get into the story. It says a video of an African-American woman detailing her experience of racism with the Mormon church has begun to circulate online. The woman, introduced as Chanel Achenbach, was on the Mormon Stories podcast in November last year, though the video was uploaded 2023. In the video, she explained how she was told she was not permitted to marry a white man as her seed was cursed. She was also told that she must only marry a black man to prevent her children from being cursed. A bunch of bullshit. Hey, we're not listening to no damn Mormons. And see, this is why you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if a so-called white person is running up over you talking about religion, and they feeding you white Jesus, get the fuck away from them to begin with. Because they enslaved you with white Jesus. Now she's fighting for the right to marry her enslaver, her oppressor, man. That's basically what she's about to go into in this particular story. It says the episode was updated on January 2nd to the Mormon Stories podcast YouTube page, but snippets of her testimony have begun to circulate on other social media platforms such as TikTok. Speaking to the host, John Dellin, Achenbach explained conversations and teachings she received from the leaders of the Mormon church. She said the leaders said, you know what? We think it's best you get married, right? You're older. You have served the mission. You are a great candidate for marriage, but you need to find a black man. I remember I kept asking, where am I supposed to find a black man? See, this is a problem with you so-called black women. You go, and just Jake in general, you go to these places, you go around these so-called white people, you're surrounded by them, it's a sea of them, and you don't have none of your own people around. What kind of question is, where am I supposed to find a so-called black man? That means that she's in the midst of a sea of so-called white people, because that's mainly the Mormon religion. It's some Negroes in there. Don't get me wrong. I don't get it, but it's some in there. Okay, it says, they said it doesn't matter. You find a black man, you convert him, or go to an area where there are predominantly black men. So you can't convert people to a religion, man. That's why the scriptures talks about if you're in this truth of ours, the Hebrew Israelite truth. The scripture says that, hey, if a person is willing to be with you, you convert it to this gospel, the good news, and you may have a husband or a wife that may not, but if they're willing to still continue with you, the scripture says to be with them. You can be with them, but if they don't and they want to roll on about their way, then hey, let them go. You're to be at peace. Now, IUIC, from my understanding, they teach that, when you come into their congregation, that I think they give you like a 6-month period to for your spouse that you were with to convert, or you have to get rid of them. And that's not gospel, man. That IUIC got a lot of people committing adultery if that's the case, man. All right, so let's go on. It says she detailed how this direction began to get frustrating. She also explained how she eventually confronted one of her leaders about the instructions to only go for a black man. Why wouldn't you want to? But see, that's white Jesus Christianity, where they're teaching you we're all one. Let us all just get along, with that white Jesus crap, man. The Lord separated the nations, man. The Lord separated the nations. And our women, are not supposed to be with other races of people, man. You're supposed to mainly be with somebody of your tribe. But now she could marry someone, within the Northern Kingdom or something like that. But really, scripturally, we're supposed to be with our tribes, Because if she's a so-called black woman, she would be from the tribe of Judah. It would be best, or scripturally, she should be with a man from the tribe of Judah. Going off into, our ancient lineage, so to speak. Okay, but it says, on the podcast, she continued, I said, say it. I need you to say it. So black people and white people aren't supposed to mix. They were like, no, they're not. I said, is there a reason? And actually, so-called blacks and so-called whites, they are brothers. Because of Isaac and Rebekah, they had twins, Esau and Jacob. Esau came out looking like the so-called white man that you see today. And Jacob came out as a so-called brown black man. But the scripture says that there will be two nations in her womb, two manner of people. So we are different. We're different in spirit. You see what I'm saying? We're different. We have the birthright, and we have the promises that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Class in the main slave trade, the diaspora, all this stuff. Look, man, why are you fighting to be with the enemy? Matter of fact, let me get a quick scripture. But this is our people, man. Because I see these people all the time. They riding through the neighborhoods on bikes, looking stupid as hell with those goddamn helmets on, black slacks with the white short sleeve shirt. And they prey upon our people that don't know no better. You see what I'm saying? They prey upon our people that don't know no better. It's that simple. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 3. Yeah, man, you have to use wisdom out here. She's trying to get, she's envying her enemy. Proverbs 3:31, and it reads, envy thou not the oppressor. You're not supposed to envy your oppressor. These people are oppressors. They still have you in slavery 500 years to this very day. Now today they want to give you Martin Luther King Day. But still have you Negroes in slavery, and you're still doing just as bad. Matter of fact, you're doing worse than you were doing when Martin Luther King walked the earth. We're doing worse as a people under these people's oppression. It says, envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. You're not supposed to be choosing the ways of the so-called white man. The so-called white man is telling you that everybody can be together with this Tower of Babel bullshit. You're not supposed to be, we're not all supposed to be collectively or surrounded by each other like this, man. America is Babylon the Great. When you think about a place that live in China, other nations of people that live in China, but China has a ice. When you look at China, it's Chinese people there. When you go to Japan, there's Japanese people. The majority is, See, when you have a nation like America, you got every fucking body in their military. Bunch of so-called white people, Japanese, black people, and all these other different people in the Chinese military. That's the way that it's supposed to be. Anyway, let's go back. Let's see what else they got. Man, I done got rid of the dang old story. So like you. Let me go back off into this news app real quick. Pull it back up. Yeah, man, we're not supposed to be all grouped up like that, man. Only the so-called white man wants that shit. Because he's terrible by himself. All right, here we go right here. Let's go back into it. Because she wants a reason. She needs a reason. Okay, it says they were like, okay, yeah, okay, so she wants a reason. It says, they said yes, because your seed is cursed. If your seed mixes with their seed, then your children, your husband won't be cursed, but your children will be. No, the children won't be cursed if you get with a so-called white man. Why? Because they will be Edomites. Because the seed line goes by your father. So if a so-called white man impregnates a so-called black woman, those children will be so-called white, even though they may come out with color. So they're not going to be under the curses because only the Israelites are under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. You see? So the children won't be cursed. That so-called white man won't be cursed, but her ass will be. Why? Because she's an Israelite. Because we are under the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay? They asked her, do you want that for your family? Speaking about the story, she said sarcastically, 2 black people were just going to stay cursed. So you want me to find a black man so I could be cursed with him and so our kids can be cursed. So she doesn't want to go through nothing with her people. She wants ease. That's the so-called black woman though. Hey, that's Eve and the serpent. She wants comfort. And the so-called white man is in power. She's feeling as if she can get that comfort here through him. Because the so-called white man, he the one that done set the so-called nigger woman up with Section 8 and food stamps and Medicare and they don't have to worry about shit. They can just throw the man out the house, throw his ass on child support and run him down all his life, have him go to jail, lose his driver's license and all kinds of shit if they don't pay up. See, the so-called white man set them up on that pedestal like that. And you know what, you so-called black women that's falling for this shit, you're going to be destroyed right along with this man. That simple, man. Okay, it says in another video, she also spoke on the podcast. She said she laid out what she would need from the Mormon church to stop talking about her experiences. Okay, so she's out here putting them on blast, basically, telling their business. First of all, you're going to have to apologize to me and everybody else. That is a demand. See, the so-called white woman out here giving demands to the so-called white man. Number 2, you're going to have to unteach that. They're not going to unteach that. They've been doing that since they've been a religion. I think Mormons, that religion probably about maybe 200 years or so old, maybe. I think it started in the 1800s. I mean, we can look into it. It says you are going to have to say, hey, we are human. We got it wrong. We messed up. We have no problem with interracial marriage. We have no problem with black people. See? Why are you fighting so hard to integrate with them? Why are you fighting so... Hey, this is the that Martin Luther King spirit that everybody is running around here, clapping their hands in church and singing them dumbass, I call them white people spirituals, not Negro spirituals. It says that stuff that in the pre-existent is wrong. It is not true. It wasn't of God. We made mistakes. So, but the Lord, he created division, man. See? Matter of fact, let me get that. Okay, this is Deuteronomy. Their inheritance. When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So the Lord separated the nations, man. He gave all of them their borders, and he chose a nation, and he chose the Hebrew Israelites, which are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He chose you as his portion. See, it says, for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So the so-called white man is telling you that you're cursed because you have melanin when his ass can't walk out into the sun without sunscreen on for the sake of catching cancer. But you're the cursed one. Come on. Now, are we cursed as a people? Yes, we're cursed under Deuteronomy chapter 28 because we broke the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh H.I.M. But the Lord has not forgotten us. See, the Lord is about to raise, he's raising the children of Israel up right now. So when the Father, Yahweh, the Most High, sent his son, Yahweh Shai, back, he's going to get us out of the hands of our enemies. And these enemies of ours are going into hardcore slavery, man. So it would be best for her to get the fuck away from them. First off, And that goes for any of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man, out here worshiping the so-called white man and his image of white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Christ, which is that's a curse in itself to not have melanin. So they are cursed too, to a certain extent. Now they're not under the curses of the scriptures like how we are, but they are cursed with those recessive genes. You see? Why do you think they running around out here? They get in the sun and try and get a tan, but that shit don't work for them. That sun be beating their asses up, man. You see? But let's see here. I mean, you know, sometimes you have to kind of go off into let's just put Mormon. Let's get Mormon. Let's go into Google real quick and see what we can get on this Mormon thing, right? Or they put black Mormon. No, I just want Mormon. Let's put in the Mormon origins. Okay, let's see here. Mormons, history and belief, the Book of Mormons. And you have some of these Israelites, man, they be quoting shit, you know, from this Mormon shit, like it's like they're just truth, man. Look, we have the KJV, man. We have the scriptures, man. You don't need to be quoting nothing from this man's book, man. We don't need their book. It says the doctrines of Mormonism began with the farm boy Joseph Smith in 1820s in the Western New York during a period of religious excitement, which is known as the Second Great Awakening. See, there's a bunch of bullshit. Jake running around out here. Jake want to go with everybody's religion except for their own culture, man. Mormonism is a religious tradition and theology of the Latter-day Saints movement of restorationist Christianity started by Joseph Smith in the Western New York in the 1820s and 30s. As a label, Mormonism has been applied to various aspects of the Latter-day Saints movement, although there has been a recent push for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to distance themselves from this label. A historian, Sidney E. Ostrom, wrote in 1982, one cannot even be sure whether Mormonism is a sect, a mysterious cult, a new religion, a church, a people, a nation, or an American subculture. Indeed, at different times and places, it is all these. However, scholars and theologians with the Latter-day Saints movement, including Smith, have often used Mormonism to describe the unique teachings and doctrines of the movement. A prominent feature of Mormon theology is the Book of Mormon, which describes itself as a chronicle of early indigenous people of the Americas and their dealings with God. How did they get here? You stole this place. Along with your so-called white people, you stole this place. You wouldn't have been here in the 1800s unless you came here and you killed, you raped, robbed, you pillaged the so-called Native American Indians, which are the tribe of Gad. So you're a bunch of goddamn murderers, man. Right? It says Mormon theology includes mainstream Christian beliefs with modifications. See? They ain't doing nothing but switching up the scriptures, man. Stemming from belief and revelations to Smith and other religious leaders. This includes the use of and belief in the Bible and other religious texts, including the doctrine of covenants and the pearl of great price. Mormonism includes significant doctrines of eternal marriage, eternal progression, baptism for the dead, polygamy or plural marriage, sexual purity, health specified in the word of wisdom, fasting, Sabbath observations. Hey, look, man. These scriptures has nothing to do with you're Edomites. You're Esau, Edom. You have nothing to do with the birthright. You have nothing to do with the promises that were given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are Edomites, and you're going into slavery, man. That's it. So what they done is they got their hands on a few of the scriptures, flipped it around, and tried to make them seem as if they're the pure people. No difference than white Jesus Christianity. All of it's the same. It's all white superiority. That's all it is, white supremacy, you know, all in the name of religion. But That's the reason why the Lord is waking up the children of Israel in these last days, and he's showing you who your enemies are. And here you go, you got the nigga woman, she's fighting tooth and nail to marry one of them. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on this for a hot sec. Hey, look, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are living in the last days. It is high time to awake out of sleep and get the fuck away from these people. Get away from it. Come out of white Jesus Christianity. Come out of America's values, and not just America. It's wherever our people are scattered at. You have to get away from the white man's thinking, because it's destructive, and the Lord is coming to destroy these people. So you don't want no parts of these people when he comes, man, because you're going to get destroyed right along with him. See? But she's fighting tooth and nail for her to be with her oppressor. She wants them to change what... No, they've been believing that since the 1820s. But see, they'll ride up on these bikes and get you Negroes because they don't expect you to read. They never expecting you to read and learn this stuff. They never expecting you to know that they feel that way about you. All they want you to do is come through, give up some money, and give your tithes, man, and your offerings. That's all they're looking for from you, man. That's it. So with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying. Kwame Shalom.